as the start of it, let's say cheers.
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 Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you for allowing us to come here and hang out with you. This is what our podcast is. But that's been told, but this podcast is called Drunken Public. So we come hang out with brewers, sales reps, and everything like that. Hang out, talk about the locations and the history of this place. And what we want to talk to thank you about is just beautiful location. And was this location part of the process of why you picked this spot?
Yeah, it really was. This started out as the Luke family car dealerships. They opened in 1958 as a Pontiac dealership. And it was the north end of this building we're sitting in, probably about 6,000 square feet or so. That was their original service department and parts department and all that, and they had a showroom up on the front corner of Division and East Street. And then in '62 they added the rest of this building where we're sitting now, and this was the service department.
Okay.
Right about the place that we're sitting, there used to be a car wash. There was a cinder block wall here that ran over to there, and this was the little place where once they got finished servicing the car, they'd go in there and one of the guys would give it a car wash and then drive it out the overhead door, which is right back there, and then back around to the front of the building and return it to the customer. And all these windows that you see, you were commenting on that?
Yeah.
All of them are new since we got here.
Okay.
We leased the place in December of 2015, opened for business in July of 2016. And the landlord added all the building, the windows down the side of the building. He thought it would make for a really nice view into the brewery for people who were here for restaurants or shops or offices in the complex. It also threw a bunch of natural light in there, which was great.
That's my favorite thing about it, I think.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of natural light. So.
Yeah. And then, we put up the wall here to make the tap room, air conditioned this part of it, which really at the time, 2 years ago, there was, I think, Community Lakewood had just opened their tap room. It's air conditioned. I think Deep Ellum had a small space that was air conditioned, but
Deep Ellum's really small. And that's why we were talking on our own about that. Like, was this tap room the core process of what you would think? You wanted a big tap room, and
we knew we wanted a big tap room. I wanted a place for several people to hang out. I'd been over to RAR. They kind of pioneered the thing anyway for North Texas, and we should all be thankful to Fritz and the guys that started that thing.
No, definitely.
But we went over there, and on a Wednesday afternoon in May, it was hot and sticky, and
limited space to sit.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't any place to sit. There wasn't a band playing. There wasn't any TVs on. There wasn't any food to eat. It was hot. And, there was so many people, you just basically took your beer and went to the back of the line until you got to the front of the line.
Exactly.
That's one of my biggest complaints about the last time I went to RAR.
But see, here's the thing. It sounds like I'm complaining. We had a great time.
Oh, yeah.
And, we really did. We thought, this was awesome because we talked to a bunch of folks and drank a few beers. And it was terrific. And, that kind of, what I wanted to have was indoor and outdoor space. We've got room to sit 125 people in chairs and bar stools in the room we're sitting in. Air-conditioned comfort. As long as we've got no more than 125, we can keep it cool.
Heating bodies in here.
Our anniversary party, our opening was July 22nd. The next year was July 21st, I guess. The same day of the same Saturday, and both times it was 106. And we'd even beefed up the air conditioning, and within an hour it was still 90 degrees in here. So for
ice packs at the door to everybody.
For our second anniversary, we started celebrating that in April. We're not real good at math, but we can read a weather forecast. By golly, we're pretty good at that.
It's a different kind of smart, I think.
This is real kind of smart. Like, this is not our official anniversary, but this for now it's gonna be because it's way cooler.
This worked out so well, though. To answer your question more directly, this site, this building that we decided to start this in, it was real important for a few reasons. My partner Kurt and I, we live about 5-6 minutes from here in North Arlington,
just
nice.
North
of Lamar High School. And we've lived there for a long time. And we looked at some places in Dallas, Fort Worth, but we didn't want to commute. We wanted an easy commute, and we wanted to be in Arlington if we could. And so we started looking at places. Funny how these things evolve, but we were starting to look at places that were a total of 3,000 feet, and then we thought maybe we need more like 5 or 6, and then how about if we got 7 with an option on that next 3,000 for 10,000 square
Snowball.
feet? And now the tap room's 2,500 square feet air conditioned. We're in 25,000 square feet in this building. So it just
huge.
This
yeah,
place
it
is
just went crazy.
beautiful and massive. That's all I gotta say. And then I do like the outdoor patio.
Yeah,
And then-
our landlord shared our vision with us. He's got a good eye towards what he wants to do with this whole development. The good thing is when we came in, it gave this area some gravity, some magnetism. With somebody here, besides an abandoned car dealership or a used car dealership, where people can come at night. He lit the place up, and we provided the place for people to come, and it's changed this whole part of town, really.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because you guys are what? So from the beginning till now, it's been close to 3 years, 2.5 years. We're coming up on 3 years, and so a lot of this stuff is really growing, and it's cool because you guys have been here for that long. To kind of see it kind of develop more and more, and you guys are going to be like a good central hub for all the different shops around here. Because especially as the the kind of the North Texas beer scene grows.
Yeah.
People are going to drive more people into here, and there's more stuff to do. I mean, you've got the Cowboys Stadium, you've
Sure.
got Ranger Stadium. Like, it's just
We
a
can
good
see the
super
roof
hub.
of AT&T from
Yeah.
where we sit. And,
Well, you can see the roof of AT&T from Dallas. I'm pretty sure if you look hard enough.
the great thing is too, we wanted to be part of that thing that's going on. And we looked at the city we lived in for all these years. 400,000 people, 2 professional sports franchises, a place like Six Flags, and no beer, no breweries.
Yeah.
Division opened a few months before we did.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been there, you should go.
Yeah, they're-
whole different thing.
Yeah, it's a good college vibe kind of thing over
Smaller,
there.
wilder, funkier. We put 75% of our beer in cans. They don't have any package really. We do solo and duo singer-songwriters. They do grunge and metal.
Yeah.
But listen, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's
You don't
kind
want
of the spectrum,
two-
right?
You want
Yeah.
two different same things. You want
Exactly.
two different things.
Yeah.
So that, and they open until midnight, and we close at 6.
Yeah.
So I can say, man, you guys still need beer? Right across the way. That way.
Last call. Head over there if you want some more beer.
Exactly.
Some good
Yeah.
beers too, by the way.
Oh man, they do great beers.
But what I really like about this place, I lived in Arlington for a couple of years, drinking, not to brag, but drinking, partying in Arlington a lot for pre-gaming. But they've always had really good hidden gems in Arlington, and it's just phenomenal that to see it grow and still have these hidden gems here. You guys, and I was mentioning earlier, Dino's is still here. That's a beautiful food to go eat down the street. Division's down the street. You guys are here now. Free to Play is here. There's a club now here that wasn't here before. This is so many things are still growing. It still feels like a beautiful, small hidden gem area that has phenomenal potential.
They're going to put an axe throwing venue across the
Really?
parking lot.
Kind of like next to Martin House has one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are
wow.
popular. Those are really popular.
They're going crazy.
Have you been to one before?
I have not.
Yeah, my brother went to one. He said it's harder than you think.
Oh,
Do the old
yeah.
overhand toss. You think, just stick it on the wall. No.
I'm just waiting for somebody to toss one and get stuck in the seat.
No, I'm waiting for someone to hold on a little bit too long and take them themselves out.
Right in the foot.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, the insurance on that's going to be ridiculous.
I gotta have to sign some. I have to wonder. You gotta have signed waivers, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
You have to. It's not like a dart that you could accidentally poke somebody and then they'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a little more serious than all that.
So, legal draft. So, you're practicing lawyer?
I'm a recovering attorney.
Okay. Recovering with beer?
Yeah, I
I
have.
like that line.
Yeah, I still have. I did that at a panel discussion the other day, and it's the first time anybody's gotten it. I was like 3rd or 4th up on the panel, and I said, "Hi, I'm Greg, and I'm a recovering attorney."
Hi, Greg.
About half of the crowd went, "Hi, Greg." And I said, "I haven't practiced law in 17 days." That's the running joke, but that's me. I still practice. I still have a license and still do a tiny bit of work, but this is 3 full-time jobs. And
Oh, man, yeah.
I would imagine.
So,
incredibly difficult.
when you got into it, did you kind of did you homebrew before you got? Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, because you seem to know your way around beers pretty well, and so
I try. I know enough about it to be dangerous, Right from the get-go, we knew that I was not going to be our brewmaster or have a real direct hand in the brewing.
Yeah.
I've been on the brew deck, and I know what happens up there. And probably if Henrik said, "Look, I'm going back to Germany for 2 months because I got some family business to take care of. I need to teach somebody how to run this thing. It would take me a week. I could do it, and they have other people
The manager.
do that stuff with me. But that's not what I should be doing.
Yeah.
There's way too much at stake here to put a rookie on the brew deck.
True.
A little bit more than a rookie, but I do. I like that you know enough to be dangerous. That's a line I'm gonna have to steal. Once I become dangerous, like I'm not there yet.
I know enough to be dangerous about a whole lot of things.
Also, you get the legal aspect from the brewing side.
That's it's funny. That was my job as a lawyer. Is I had to know. I didn't know a lot about the law, but I had to know a little bit about a lot of things. A business dispute between two companies. I had to know what business that they were, the business they were in. I had to know enough about it to be able to talk to the other side, witnesses, accountants, all that sort of thing intelligently, so I could ask the right questions. Medical malpractice, patent and trademark infringement, anything that involved that case that I was up there.
It's a big spectrum.
I had to
That's
know,
a wide spectrum.
I had to know the business, and
Yeah.
I did a little bit of all of that sort of thing, and still mediate cases. So I've got to at least have some working knowledge, so that for that day, it's not just a complete miss on what I understand about what they're talking about.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So your first homebrew, what kind of beer was it, and was it a success?
It was a Hefeweizen, and it was a dismal failure.
Really?
Yeah, it got infected somehow. It was just nasty.
Did you still drink it though?
No, I poured it down.
Was that
I poured
bad?
it down the driveway, and that one still, you can still see the marks.
A little caustic?
Little acid, they take out the street.
It was bad.
I was gonna say I don't know if I would have believed you if you would have said it turned out well, because I feel like the majority of people that homebrew, first brews never go very well.
Terrible.
Very rarely you hear a success story of their first homebrew.
The next one was really good. I made a brown ale. It was sort of a clone of a moose drool, and I called it doggy drool. All of my home brews had dog names.
Dog names.
And I
you
called
love
it doggy
dogs.
drool, yeah. And I'll tell you a story about another one in a second. That one turned out really good. Probably the best homebrew that I made, except for the one I'm going to tell you about. Had 2 or 3 in the middle that were. I made a pilsner that was. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't worth drinking. I made an IPA that was probably a little too malty, but if you like sort of that 7.5–8% low hop stain sort of IPA, it was more like a
Nice, easy drinking little
pale ale. And then I made a Hefeweizen, and I called it Yellow Dog Wheat because I have a yellow lab. And I found a deal online. I didn't do anything halfway. I had custom labels and all that
Detail-oriented.
kind of stuff. And so I got a Yellow Dog Wheat label. It had this really nice sort of oil color, oil paint drawing of a yellow lab, head and shoulders. And the beer turned out to be really, really good. In fact, my son-in-law's dad, whom I've known since we were both in junior high school. We've known each other for a long time. He's the biggest beer snob I know. He was in the military, spent a lot of time in Germany and Belgium, and he knows his beers. And he had a bottle of that one time when he was up, and he said, I think that probably is the best Hefeweizen I've ever had that wasn't brewed in Germany.
Wow, that's a good compliment.
Well, and this guy doesn't throw compliments around like that.
So you kind of took it to heart, because
Yeah, he told me
he wasn't blowing smoke or anything.
No, he told me my brown ale, you copied the recipe from Moose Drool. This isn't anything like Moose Drool. So he was serious. So when we get all this going, we're sitting back there interviewing assistant brewer candidates, empty warehouse, cold February day, and we were talking about the lineup. And I said, I really want to do a wheat beer, and I have a recipe for one that is good. And he said, yeah, bring some in. So I got some of it, had a couple of bottles left over, and I brought it in. And our brewer, Heiner, he's Bavarian. He's born in Nuremberg, trained in Munich. He still says mit and instead of with and and. I mean, he's German.
To the fullest.
Yeah, and so he takes the bottle, cracks it open, pours about half in there, and then does the swirl and get the yeast
So you're like,
mixed up.
check.
Yeah, he pours it in there, and this is the entire research and development plan for our Hung Dirty Hefeweizen, start to finish. he does that and he goes, ja, this is good. You make this. That's it?
Yeah.
No questions?
That's all you need.
Bring into the recipe, he scales this up.
You're like, all right.
That's the last homebrew I ever made.
That's funny because that was going to be my question. If the y'all's Hefeweizen you have now, if that was based off of your original one, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So let's try it. On that note,
Yeah, we're going to grab some. Hey, Rini, can we get a couple of small, or make it 3 small hefts?
I like you do the German 3 as well.
That's the Dirk 3.
The dark 3. There you go. I like that. 3.
I would call it the Dirt 3 too. Well, I can't speak English now, but what I want to say is I really am in love with these glasses. You can see this on screen right now, but these glasses are phenomenal. That's the first thing we complimented when we were sitting down right here. Like, God, I love these glasses. It's different. I like the way it feels when you hold it.
Yeah.
In any format, you hold it down here, up here, any format you want to hold it, it feels comfortable in your hand.
Yeah.
It's a good glass, man.
Well, thanks. We thought that was going to be really important. The glassware that we use in the tap room, we figured would be a pretty essential part of this. We do style-specific glassware. The IPA and the stout, like you've got in front of you, are Spiegelau glassware. They're pretty expensive. They're crystal, like wine glasses. We use a hef glass for the tall hefts. We use a proper lager glass, a Helles glass for our lagers. And the thing is,
Thank you, sir.
we kind of borrow from wine, but then when you get right down,
Gotcha, man.
thank you,
Fireman line.
when you get right down to it, isn't craft beer really more like wine? It's
I think it's better than wine.
well, but it's similar to in that there's a time and a place for pretty much every style.
Oh, yeah.
I love the stout. I love a really nice hoppy IPA, but that's not my floating down the river beer. And neither is the No Herb Texas my go-to beer for dessert or late at night by the
heavier
campfire in December. But I might like that No Herb Texas if I know I'm going to be floating the river or playing golf, and I know I'm going to be into the 9, 10, 12 beer thing by the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah.
I don't want a 7.5% beer for that. I'd like that 4.2 to just kind of keep
Kind of
the
ease it
whistle.
along. Yeah.
Yeah, and
You just feel better.
there's food that comes into this too. Craft beer pairs so well with food.
That's funny that you bring that up because I see lately now a lot of Dallas breweries and Fort Worth breweries particularly are doing food pairing. It will be donuts, it will be sweets, will actually fish. There's a lot of food pairing. Have you thought about doing a food? You have a perfect glassware in this setup to have a food pairing and the space for it.
We do a regular donuts and drafts here at the brewery on Sundays. I think the next one's coming up either this Sunday or next. We've done the beer and Girl Scout cookies at Luck. We've done
Nice.
the beer and donuts and donut holes and pastries and all the beer rocks and all the things that they do at Luck. And we've actually done, a couple dozen, I think, by now, beer dinners where a different one of our beers is paired with each course.
Yeah, that's
And
Good stuff right there.
it turns out really great. In fact, the heft that we have in front of us has been the dessert beer a couple of times.
This is dessert
things like bread pudding with a Grand Marnier sauce. Things that have that sort of orange and citrus bent instead of a chocolate. This is perfect for that sort
I
of.
felt like I had the big boy and I came out like, that sounds good.
the inner big boy.
But since we've got things that are worthy of being considered in the same vein as wine, back to the glassware, we wanted to stay away from shaker pints. We won't ever have a shaker pint that we serve our beer in because it just doesn't do any justice to the beer. The thin lip like that, each one of them's got its purpose. That stem down there.
Yeah.
That's actually to hold.
Yeah.
So that you get that CO2 release, but you're not getting the beer up in the top pot. You're letting the CO2 release out of the
I think
beer
it
as it warms.
kind of facilitates the gas to go upwards as well too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
because of the heat.
when the CO2 bubble gets to the top and releases aromas.
Exactly.
And then, if you were in a shaker pint, it would release the aromas and they would just do this.
No, that's why you funnel it here. That's
funnel it
beautiful.
back to your nose. You bet.
Which is good for a stout because you want your stout to be a little bit more kind of heated up, if
Heck
you
yeah.
will, to release a lot of that flavor.
And
So.
even the IPA, It's a similar look to that. It's got a little ribbed bottom and a little thinner top, but it's still funnel. You hold that down there and you let that CO2 release out of the liquid as it warms.
Yeah.
And it makes for an entirely different experience. If you put a stout or an IPA or a hef in a shaker pint and then put it next to it, or even a classic lager, and then put it next to it in the proper glassware, I promise you it won't taste the same.
Yeah.
See, that's one thing I need to be paying more attention to. There's a few breweries and a few people. I'm new to beer myself, going on a year and a half actually trying to learn a little bit more.
Yep.
But one of our first episodes with a friend, Chanel, she was teaching me the glassware, like what's important to have what style of beer in appropriate glassware.
Yep.
And she's one of many people who tried, and I only remember stouts because it's my favorite. I have a bunch of stout glasses at the house.
Yeah.
But it does make a difference, It does make a difference.
It does, and I wish they were all as durable and as stackable as a shaker pint. They're not, but
Just the thin crystal, yeah.
yeah, it's just it kind of do you want to drink a really nice glass of Cabernet out of a jelly jar or out of a proper?
Sometimes I will.
It's a
And
good way of putting it.
I've had them out of jelly jars and still enjoyed the experience. Don't get me wrong, and I don't want it to sound snobbish.
No, it's not snobbish.
But there's a time and a place for all that stuff.
Yeah.
And our all of our beers that are in the cores are just as proud of them when in the can, when they're in the can. And you don't get the same experience drinking it out of the can. But a can's a great thing to have if you're on the river,
Portable and
backpacking, or doing all
Going
those
to
kind of things.
barbecue.
shotgunning on the top of the
Shotgunning
Eiffel
a beer. It's
Tower.
hard to shotgun a beer out of the glass. Effectively.
I mean, it's doable. It'll make a mess.
Yeah, pretty sure you can cut up to something.
You really just out of a glass. You just want to shotgun it out of the top.
That's called a drinking.
Just chugging it.
That's it.
No, but
I'm sorry, I have a question. So the Hefeweizen is really, really good. How close to when you first brewed it? It was a success. How close is this to
It's
pretty straight on?
straight on.
That's good. That was
And it
that.
really hasn't varied. Every now and then the hef will clear up a little bit if the keg has sat still for a little while. But it's in terms of the look, the flavor, the really interesting parts of the profile to me, which are a really nice little sort of banana / bubble gum on the front.
Oh, yeah.
From the hef yeast, and then to me the nice balance, word again,
bring it up again. Good word.
of the orange peel and the coriander on the back. That kind of keeps it from getting too much like a shandy. Wheat beers, if you get them all lemony, you can get a little bit too much citrus to me.
Yeah.
And this one keeps it really nicely balanced. So for me anyway, it's got everything I want in a hef and nothing I don't.
No, it's
That's the way it should be, right?
definitely. What I would say is, I'm more. Drew really enjoys craft beer, and it's the reason why we do the show. So he knows a lot about his beers and what he enjoys. I'm more of not a beer snob. I'm very picky because I like very few beers. Of course, who doesn't like lager and ale? Those are super clean beers. But I really like stouts and porters. I'm not too much into bitter IPAs. I'm not big into wheat and Hefeweizen style beers because I feel like most people, again, don't do it balanced, like you said earlier, and it just bothers my taste buds. But I do appreciate it when it's done well. When every part of my tongue gets a good flavor profile, and it cleans up really well, and there's no bad lingering taste.
Right.
That's a good beer, regardless if I like the style or not. That's a good beer.
Good deal. Thanks.
Yeah.
So,
You ought to give that Holland Porter a try soon when you're done with the hef. That's,
definitely.
Yeah, that's the. I think it's one of 2 porters we've ever made, and it's one of the few beers, one of the only 2, in fact, that we have in our lineup that's ever come out where the name doesn't have anything to do with the law. We made that as a special beer for my grandchildren. I have 2 grandkids, a daughter named Holland and a son named Porter. Yeah, grandson
Really?
Porter. Yeah. And so we brewed it on my grandson Porter's birthday on January 3rd, and we packaged it on my granddaughter Holland's birthday
Wow.
8 weeks later, and called it Holland Porter, and it turned out great. That one's the barrel-aged version.
Okay.
We put, I think we filled Witherspoon whiskey barrels
Oh, nice.
with the Holland Porter. When we were done with all that, we did keg out some of the base beer.
So
And
that's
it's
definitely the
terrific.
next
That's one
beer.
right in the middle.
That's
Yeah.
somewhat local, right? Witherspoon, they're
Witherspoon's up in Louisville.
yeah, they're not
Yeah.
too far away.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna see if you can turn down music just a little bit.
I can do that for you.
Look you there.
Look at this man. So
And what can't you do?
yeah,
That's the next
everything.
question.
He
What
makes
can't you
great beers. He has a beautiful eye for vision with glassware and everything. Like this man,
I'm no good at drawing.
man, it can't be
Like
perfect.
dictionary worth a damn.
Can't be perfect. No, it's perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect.
No, as I want you to feel comfortable, and I don't want you to yell.
No, that's
but
good.
as you get further away from the mic, it'll be harder for.
Oh, yeah, let me just
No,
stay
feel
in a little
comfortable.
closer.
But now with the music low,
Cool.
speak how you want to hang out and stuff like that. It's perfect. But no,
Good deal.
I Holland Porter want to try, but so legal draft.
Yep.
Obviously, you're a lawyer. You picked that name for as being a lawyer as you passed. But do you guys have any other names in the pocket like you guys were thinking?
For the brewery?
Yeah.
Did we, you mean?
Yeah. Did you have any like other names picked out? Like
Yeah, we did. We the way that this all got started, we have a creative director. I guess is her title. Her name's Lauren Carter. She's a graphic artist. She's been in the advertising business, so she helped me to get started on that sort of thing. And one of the things that she just harped on was the essential. We had to have good branding.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Obviously.
understand. Yeah, I didn't understand branding when we got started with that. I thought that's what you did to cattle. I really did.
I mean,
Just straight up just branding. Yeah,
You brand the cattle.
But she made sure that I couldn't just quit at the first or second idea that popped into our heads that sounded like it would be good. That we could have done something around baseball or Arlington or dogs or anything like that. But we went through a bunch of those other kind of ideas, and what she did that really helped was she said, we're not done with this until we name the core beers and
Yeah.
we decide what the feel of the tap room is and what the t-shirts look like and how
Smart
this all she's
sure.
brilliant that way. And so, each time we would get something, we kind of had 3 finalists and we ran down the road on a couple of other ones and they kind of petered out. This one was the only one that had legs, and it's probably mostly due to the fact that we really wanted to tell a story. It didn't have to be mine necessarily, but they always say, write what you know. And so when it came time to say, look, we're going to have to get, by the time we're 5 years into this, 50, 60, maybe 100 names for beers that had to do with the law or law practice or something like that. That we sat there. We have a spreadsheet that's got like 9 columns of names on it. So we're not exactly ready to roll, and you can't just reserve those names. You have to actually use them, and that intellectual property thing is going to be kind of
Has to be like maintained. Yeah.
yeah. There's a brew pub movie theater called IPIC. They just opened up in Frisco or Plano, I don't remember which, Allen, something like that. But anyway, that part of town. They're out of Illinois or Indiana or something like that. But we came out with our first and only so far hazy IPA, called it the Haziest Corpus.
That's good. Habeas corpus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that name and all that sort of thing. I got a call one day from this guy. He says, hey, I'm the CEO of IPIC or COO, I don't remember, but he said, I'm calling to tell you, we saw that you've got that Haziest Corpus out, and we put it out about a year before you did. And I said, oh, crap. So am I going to get a cease and desist letter? And the guy said, no, this is a good call. I'm calling to tell you that we're just going to give you that name because it really fits you all better than it does us. We've got Gone with the Wind and To Kill a Mockingbird. They have movie
style.
sort of themed names. And he said, when this came up, I told the guys, I said, that's a great name, but not for us.
Yeah.
And so we're going to keep making the Hazy IPA. We're going to change our name, and we're going to let you have the Hazies.
Did you send them a free keg?
They just opened.
Yeah.
We didn't send them a free keg. They're buying beer from us.
Wow.
Which is really cool. They're
even better. That's doubling
they're-
up.
Yeah, they're a great organization, great guys, and a good example of what could have turned out to be really kind of testy.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of other things like that come up, but unfortunately, in craft beer, you get a phone call and you work it out. We had a name for our amber lager that we were going to call it the Alibi. I didn't know that there was an Alibi blonde made by Circle down in Austin. And the guy called me.
Either, yeah.
The guy called me and he said, "Hey, we've even won a couple of awards for this." And he said, "You know, I'm just calling to see if you would back off." And we hadn't even opened yet.
Yeah.
And we had our website out there and all. I said, "Yeah, absolutely." Because I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know, he hadn't registered it, and I probably could have
Jumped
made
the gun a
trouble
little bit.
for. I could have made trouble for him, but why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
There's lots of other names that start with A that have something to do with the law. So we found one. We called it the Accused.
Yeah.
I think it's better though. I think it's a better name. I think so.
Holland Porter.
Yeah, Holland Porter. Salud. This looks
Prost.
beautiful. Gross. Wow,
It's
this
clean.
is good.
It's clean. Yeah, you
What is that
definitely taste
after
the
flavor?
It's the charred barrel. I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm guessing.
Strawberry. I can see that. The smokiness. That little nice.
Well, you can tell it's barrel aged though, for sure.
You can smell. I mean, that sounds really pretentious. You could smell it. Sounds really, really pretentious. But no, it's a. I was looking at it too. Like, is that real?
No, it's definitely real. Yeah. Very good though. I like that a lot.
Oh my god, that's phenomenal.
I have to ask about some difference between, you know, looking at it.
Well, this is
a little bit darker of a color. Yeah.
this is the barrel age. Maybe that's the regular.
That's the stout.
That's the stout.
Okay.
And that's the one we had earlier.
Yep.
So
And then Holland Porter.
as far as porter versus stout, like we've talked about it before, what would be the main difference between a porter and a stout?
It's really
Just the malt?
It's right. When you get down to it, it's the amount or the volume of the heavily roasted malt that you put in. It's really a spectrum. It kind of goes from brown ale through porter on its way to stout, because the stout is short for stout porter. And the porter was the sort of the beer enjoyed by the railroad porters in England. It's kind of that warming beer. They're working overnight or early in the morning when it's cold and doing a little something there. The brown ale was the working man's beer. You know, kind of a little more hearty, but you know, brown to dark brown to black. It's kind of how that spectrum goes.
That's a good way of putting it.
And to me, there's
More
a
elegant than what I've been saying. Way more elegant. That's beautiful.
there's a body too. There's that spectrum has to do with the body of the beer.
Yeah, for sure. The mouth feels a little bit like looks like thinner with some
Yeah,
with the
and
brown
it's-
ale versus upwards.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be glycol, you know, the slick mouthfeel kind of thing. It has to do with a little bit just the weight of
The viscousness of it.
yeah, there's viscosity that has to do with to me anyway, to glycerin, the alcohol, the sugar that's left on the alcohol, that makes it that slick kind of taste or feel. But then there's also just the only way I can really describe it is weight. So if you compare, like our Norb at Texas is really kind of analogous to a domestic American premium lager, Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, something like that.
Is nothing wrong with that?
I think, and that's what that's what a lot of people like to drink.
Oh, yeah.
And now we have a way to say, okay, here, try that, because we don't carry Bud Light here. Couldn't if we wanted to.
But bridge
You
the
don't
gap.
want to.
But I don't want to tell anybody, you know, hey, I'm glad you're here with your buddies, but I don't have anything that you would like to drink.
They're like, well, bye.
Here, give that a whirl. But if you compare that sort of body, you know, just the weight of the beer in your mouth, to something like not so much our stout, but a barrel aged beer, or think Lakewood Temptress, that's heavy.
Oh, yeah,
It's
for
got
sure.
some
Yeah.
got some guts to it.
Noticeably
you know?
different, for
Yeah,
sure,
so
yeah.
it's almost like you could squeeze it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that whole spectrum has to do with too. To me, it goes from brown ales to stouts, and typically stouts get a big body. So ours has 6.6% alcohol, which is 50% more than a Guinness, which weighs in usually around 4.4. But it's also got that easy sort of body that's more sort of towards the porter. And body has a lot to do, in my opinion, with drinkability here in Texas.
Yeah.
Because summer lasts 10 months a year, despite what's going on outside now.
the rainy season for
it's not too far off from where it was though before. So
Yeah, I mean, what, 10 days ago it was 90 degrees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so, if you're going to have an elongated period of time that it's just hot, there's a few ways to attack that. Clean, crisp beers like lagers, but then if you're going to make heavier beers, make them sort of lighter bodied heavier beers. We can drink that stout all year round.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's funny that you bring that up because that's the reason why Andrew brought that conversation, because we were talking about that when we were trying the stout. Like it feels like it drinks like a porter. It's lighter than what I would expect. That's
exactly right.
And that's why we were having because we had the conversation multiple times on the podcast, but it's like that we know there's a fundamental difference between porter and stout, but for me it's not the maltiness, it's the feel of it. And if I feel when I drink a stout that's light, I'm always going to assume it's more of a porter side. But you, again, explained it beautifully, that you want it lighter and you want a really clean mouthfeel, because no lie, it's hot as shit in Texas. It's hot, a lot.
When we were finishing up the construction in here, we had already commissioned the brew house, and the very first batch beer we made was a stout. So we had a double batch or a triple batch, I can't remember what. And in retrospect, I'm not sure how smart that was commercially, but so we got 50 barrels of stout in the fermenter in the middle of July. But we were in here, swinging hammers, and the air conditioning wasn't in yet, and we were doing stuff in there too, and it was nasty hot that year.
Oh,
it was
sure.
100, 105 degrees all the time, and we'd go back in there after we got finished working and pull a pint out of the fermenter. It had been sitting there plenty long. It was ready to package. And, we'd sweat through our clothes and sit there in 105 degree heat inside the unair conditioned tap room, and you could drink 2 of those stouts, and it wasn't so heavy that you didn't enjoy it, and it wasn't so thick, and it was just perfect. It was still refreshing and good beer.
Yeah,
and I thought, man, maybe we've got something here. It might work.
It's funny how life works out. That's beautiful on an aspect of, because I had to think when you were telling me you drank 2 stouts, right? I had to think about that. I was like, if I had a really heavy, like, let's go with Lakewood Temptress. Cinnamon, I love it.
Love that beer.
One of my favorites. On a 110 degree weather day, working all day, can I drink more than 2? And I had to think about it. It's like, I don't know if I could drink more than 2.
Or would it be like your first go-to? Like you'd be like, maybe it's a little bit more on the lighter, kind of crisp side.
Exactly, that's
for sure. So
would it be my first go-to after working all day in hot weather? I don't know. I love stouts, and I always say I would drink it at any occasion.
Right.
But after,
But
honestly,
would
you honestly have to think about that. You have to think about that. Would I drink it after working in the heat all day?
That was another big thing too. I mean, I saw Wim a week ago. He was at a Total Wine store opening, and I talked to him for a little. I told him just this. I asked him how the development of all the variations of the Temptress were going, and he said, we still got more. And I said, that's great. I said, that's one of those beers that got me into this business. It's just so good.
yeah.
And he said, that's great. And I said, but I'll also tell you that I had no interest whatsoever in trying to copy it, because I'd gotten my brains beat in trying to compete with yours. And I wanted to do something just a touch different. I would have loved to flatter you with imitation, but that wouldn't have been the right call either.
It'd be tough to imitate. So anything.
We'll go over there and we'll try to.
We'll sweet talk and make this happen. We'll make this happen. But next question is, what should we just had a wonderful porter.
Yep.
That, by the way, phenomenal. So we have an unofficial ranking system, and the number 1 for me is phenomenal, and that was a phenomenal porter.
Yeah, you
really
had
good.
the barrel aged version too, so it might be a pretty good idea to work backwards, and then you can kind of start over.
Get to the light, yeah.
Yeah, the next one is the Old Fashioned Justice.
This one right here?
Yep, and that's our presumed innocent IPA aged on Witherspoon whiskey barrels. Then for the last couple of weeks, we throw in some orange peel.
You can smell the citrus.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have
for
guessed.
sure.
I wouldn't have guessed the orange, but you can smell the citrus on it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And that's, it started, Kurt and I both like the cocktail of the Old Fashioned.
Oh, that's my favorite
wow.
go-to for sure.
Yeah.
I go to Scat Jazange. I'm getting an old fashioned
And
down there.
we were trying to decide whether to put in a stout or maybe the amber, and I said, why don't we put in the IPA? And Kurt and Henrik both looked at me like, an IPA in a barrel, that's going to be weird. And I said,
That's
yeah,
good.
You're
Weird,
right.
weird's good.
You're right, it might, but I think what happens, I'm not a chemist here, but I think what happens is the wood takes a ton of bite off the hops. You know, you might be left with a little aroma, but probably not, because they sit in the barrel for 2 months, basically exposed to a lot of air, and you know, it's not a really good environment to keep
An
hop
IPA,
qualities
yeah,
alive.
for sure.
But our presumed innocent is pretty malty at 7.2%. So I had a feeling it would stand up well in the barrel and provide that good backbone that you want.
Yeah.
And we went ahead and tossed those orange peels in there.
That's a good like
This is-
when you say that old fashioned, like
You can taste it.
on the nose, like if somebody was just to hand that to you with a blindfold on, you could seriously. It's not as bold as like a real old fashioned would be, but it's a very.
But if you
very,
be like, this is
very
an
close.
old fashioned beer from the drink, you'd be like, I can taste it. And you know why? This is another one that I'll be like, it's crushable, which is another rating for us, something we would love to drink at any occasion, poolside, whatever rating we would do. But think about it, what I love about it is you didn't at first say old fashioned style drink, but now that you say it, that's all I taste. That's all I imagine. And that's a good sign of a good quality beer.
Yeah, it's good. The nose is just
really
killer.
good.
And then that's why you're the boss man. You get the off the wall ideas, like put that in the barrel, then we're gonna throw orange peels in there. Like, come on, they wasn't thinking like that, but you have the off the wall ideas.
We did another one.
Big
that
bucks.
Sadly, we're in between batches. We'll have another one come out in about 2 weeks. It's called Ginned Up Charges, and it's our Smash IPA.
Was it the one that we just tried in the beginning?
No. It's that beer in a gin barrel.
A gin barrel.
Yeah, Treaty Oak makes Waterloo gin. They do the plain clear version, and then they'll take some of it and they'll put it in whiskey barrels. They distill whiskey too. They make whiskey, and then leave it there for 6 months, just enough to get some color. It soaks up some wood, and the wood tends to really soften the juniper bite. You can make killer old fashions and other whiskey drinks with that antique gin. So we got a few barrels of that from them, poured that Smash in there, and
Get a lot of that floralness kind of imparts into
gosh,
it.
it's got the thing that really jumped out at me the first time I sniffed the barrel was peaches.
Really?
It just peaches. It was like crushed peaches all in the bottom of there, and you got this big peach and then citrus, and then you get some juniper, and you get the wood.
That's complex.
It's very complex, and we thought we were going to, the original plan was to take 3 or 4 of the main botanicals that they use down there, grapefruit peel and juniper and rosemary and lavender and pecans, and put some of those in the barrel, and we sniffed it and we thought, that doesn't need anything. And boy, sure enough, it tasted just like a perfect gin and tonic right out of the tap.
Really?
No way.
So good.
Wow. So the name definitely
Yeah.
is as advertised.
This man, you're a mad genius.
One of these days we're gonna pour a whole bunch of beer down the drain, because one of my ideas is gonna be like, that was terrible.
That's the beauty of it. The mad genius in you.
Let us bring our cups and we'll sacrifice it.
Yeah.
We'll sacrifice our bodies, our temple for this.
We only get a couple hundred gallons of that stuff, so it's like 6.5, 7 barrels. There's just not that much beer that we can put in barrels right now. A place like Lakewood's got a nice barrel aging program. They've got a good-sized warehouse devoted to that sort of thing. But you know, we'll keep growing that for a brewery that has a German brewmaster that does center lane core stuff. Our barrel age program's off to a pretty good start.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you right now, this barrel age program, the last 2 we just had, it's phenomenal. So if you need extra space, I have an apartment. I'm willing
He will
to.
sell it. He's willing to sell it.
I'm
for you.
willing to hold it. I keep my house in great temperature range.
And then the next one up, he said, was the Barley Legal.
That's this one right here.
That's right. So we had the only 2 barrel aged things that we've got on. The Barley Legal is a barley wine. It was our 600th brew.
I'll tell you this, I wish my friend Sean was here from Dallas Beer Squad. He calls himself the Barley Wine King.
Barley wine boss.
Oh, my bad, boss. My bad, Sean. Barley Wine boss. He loves barley wine. So we will drink this and we'll let you know how we feel about
Got
this.
to make it over here.
Yeah, for sure.
Now this is the base beer, but we've got 4 barrels of 4 Witherspoon whiskey barrels full of this, ready to go in about a month.
Oh, wow, really? Okay.
Yeah. So seriously boozy. This is already 9%, 9.2, something like that. The barrel aged is going to be about 11.
It's right up there for that barley wine ABV. So you guys have any events coming up? Like anything to kick off?
Oh, yeah,
launch any
anything
of the
we want to
beers,
promote
or-
that we could be here and promote with you guys?
I know you see you have the pairings that come up pretty regularly.
Yeah. I'd say for events in the tap room, best thing to do is to check the website at legaldraftbeer.com. There's a calendar that shows you everything that you need to know. This weekend is really busy for us for festivals, so it's really nice that the rain's supposed to stop at noon.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we've got Bessel Brewfest in Texas,
Okay.
up in Louisville. The guys that are associated with
That's
the
right.
local pint.
That's this weekend. I can't
Yeah.
believe I forgot about that. It's
Yeah.
it's a match. So unfortunately, this episode will come out after the festival. But
Sure. I'm going up there tomorrow, probably about 2:30 or 3. Kind of catch the end of the VIP and the first of the open to the public part.
yeah,
And we got one in San Antonio tomorrow, one over in one down in Houston at Thistle Draft Shop, and really the next we're going to do a little Halloween event next Saturday.
you had me at Halloween.
Yeah, kids in costume get a free root beer. Dogs in costume get a dog treat. If you show up in costume, you get an extra token, so you get your fourth beer.
What if you come in costume as a dog? What do you get?
You get a free token and a dog treat.
I think my dog would like it.
Enjoy.
I think my dog would like both those treats.
And then, we've got something coming up right at the end of November that I ought to mention. It's honestly my favorite event that we do here at the brewery. I believe it's Friday, November the 30th. It's a Friday night event that they call Tavern Carols, and it's a non-denominational church here in Arlington called Gospel City.
Okay.
They have a full praise band that plays at their worship services on Sunday. 7 pieces, 8 pieces, something like that. They'll set up a stage here at the end of the tap room, and they'll play rock and roll Christmas carols for about 2.5 hours that night, starting at 7 o'clock.
That's cool.
Last
Wow.
year we had 475 people in here.
400 people.
Yeah, and we opened up this overhead window so that we could have people in the production space. We opened up that door. It was a beautiful night, like 60 degrees.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect for everybody.
With people spilling down there. Kids welcome, dogs welcome. Everybody gets a little, the lyric sheet so you can sing along.
Yeah.
Crushing the beer, singing Christmas carols.
That is
honest to goodness, is
fun
my
event.
favorite event of the entire year.
That's really cool.
I think I might be here just for the event, so we could have a video and promote it.
It's awesome.
But it's
That sounds really
it sounds
cool.
fun, and I you know what? You said it twice that you're a dog friendly place. I wish I would have known that.
Yeah, you
Because I would have brought my dog. Right now she's at home, and I feel bad.
Little Samantha. I think
Yeah.
that's cool with the whole having that, because that almost gets back to kind of the root of like monks and the kind of the intersection of like faith and beer. You know what I mean? And that's pretty cool. That's
Too
cool.
many people think that that there are, just because there's some sort of faith-based thing going on, that means no alcohol. Now, there are folks like that, and I'll give you a great example of somebody who doesn't drink, who's a big fan of our establishment, and that's Jeff Williams, the mayor of Arlington. Jeff doesn't drink; that's his choice, and certainly I respect that. But
Yeah.
what I respect about Jeff's particular vision of that and his viewpoint of that is that he's a huge fan of ours.
Yeah.
He knew about our business plan before I ever talked to Jeff.
Really?
I watched him give a 2-minute, 3-minute elevator speech to a group of people from the Chamber of Commerce. I'd never spoken to him about it before. And he comes here often for civic events. He'll speak at our place. He's always being our biggest cheerleader out there. He'll
That's
have
cool.
our root beer. He just chooses not to drink. But, he doesn't look at it as something that's bad and
Yeah.
evil and a scourge on
He
the city.
hold it against you, yeah.
He sees the economic impact that we're
Yeah.
making.
Oh yeah.
But the community aspect of it too. You gotta have it's economic and community.
You bet.
You don't have to drink to say because it's your own choice. It's like you said, it's your own personal choice not to drink. But people do enjoy drinking, and it's a festival kind of atmosphere when you drink with friends and family.
Absolutely.
So he doesn't impose him because he doesn't want to drink. He doesn't impose on anybody else, and that's beautiful.
That's right, and your analogy to the monks and everything, it's a perfect fit with that group from Gospel City. You kind of think, well, you got a church gathering.
You think
here
more prude
at a
essentially,
brewery.
and yeah.
It's
Why not?
And they don't do it irresponsibly, but they like beer. They'll throw down a couple of beers while they're playing and singing Christmas carols, and they'll be out here and they'll talk to people who they just met tonight, and they'll invite them to their church. And if they say, I've been looking for a church home, that's great. And if they say, I've got a church home, or I don't go to church, they'll say, well, then you know what I want? I want you and your family to have a Merry Christmas, and I want you to be happy. And if there's anything we can ever do for you that's just not even involved in church stuff, please let us know. They're terrific people, and it's awesome. It's a really great example of the community aspect of what we do. This is a third place. It's not home. It's not work. That's that third place. Yeah. Starbucks got to be that third place. That's why there's.
This is better. This is better than Starbucks.
The pub sounds better.
Yeah. And this is a great little place for folks to come in. We have.
So the little bit back to the beer. The barley wine we just had. What was the name of the barley wine?
Barley Legal.
Barley Legal. This is my favorite one that we've had thus far.
Ah, good.
Really, really good.
My favorite one still is the Holland Porter. I think partly it's because of the story behind it, but it was also a phenomenal porter. This one is really good too. Was my collar up the whole time?
No, you're good.
This was a really good. I'm indifferent about barley wine. This was super. I want to say sweet, but it was clean, delicious.
I'm indifferent about barley wine myself. No offense meant to the boss. But this is a little lower ABV than most. When it gets into the 13s, I kind of start.
Unless they hide that bite well, it's
really hard to make good barley wine. At the end of the spectrum, either end of the spectrum, it's really hard to make really good barley wine that's balanced and drinkable. And making a really good 4.2% lager is a challenge too.
Well, so like on that kind of note, like a lot of people we've talked to lately, seems like in the beer industry, a lot of them, your taste it's more of a cyclical thing. You kind of go through, but I feel like a lot of people are kind of regressing, but a lot of going back to like lighter, just simple stuff.
Yep.
Like a lot of them, just a pale ale, a nice lager.
Yep.
A lot of it's like just something simple and clean. Like I don't want to have a big beer. I want to come home and just hang out and get a good, solid, simple beer.
What it says to me, looking at all those things that I've read, the same things that you're talking about. What it means is that people like variety, but they realize there's a place in their refrigerator. There's a place on their tap wall for clean, simple beers. Either classic European lagers or even American lagers.
Yeah, which is a big difference.
There is. Even more basic and all. And I've read a dozen articles in the last 6 months that talk about how brewers at places like Rogue Ales and not Bell's, but I mean, you just pick
Avery.
Avery.
We talked to a lot of brewers personally on the show and off the show, asking what's their go-to beer when you get done. And a lot of them is lagers and ales and something simple.
They're back there working hard all day. They're sweating through their clothes. They're tired. They want something refreshing.
Yep.
And they kind of want to drink 2 or 3.
Yeah, you want something more sessionable, for sure.
And they've had their little dalliance with that 8.5% IPA that is really good beer that knocks you on your keister and you're done at 1.
And you're still hungry, maybe haven't had lunch that day.
Right. Mm-hmm. And there's nobody's, I haven't seen any of these things that said bitter IPAs are out. Full-bodied stouts are out.
It'll come through again.
Well, and they're not gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just that they're kind of it's sort of shaking up where there's
something new's coming up to the top, but it's gonna.
And there's this place for lagers that those guys enjoyed them before. Very few of them admitted it. It just wasn't cool at the time. And now they're kind of getting back, and it's like, yes, I want something cold and clean and bubbly. Can you give me some yellow beer? Quick.
I think on the outside looking in, this is how I look at it from a new eyes perspective, because I've been drinking beer, especially craft beer for the last year and a half, basically, and being more involved and trying to understand it. But from the outside looking in, what I'm seeing is craft beer is so much more accessible here in North Texas, especially, that before everybody had to okay, I really get a really good double IPA. I really get a good solid stout. So I'm gonna grab as many and drink as many as I can because it's hard to get a hand on it. Now that you make so many local breweries here make really good IPAs,
And branch out
some
a
good
little
styles.
bit.
Now you could just be like, okay, I don't have to run and find the newest
No
stouts.
panic.
Yeah, now I
Yep.
can drink what I want and grab when I can.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of, I think, the growth in North Texas, especially just from my experience here.
Yeah.
You can see it where, okay, I really love high ABV and IBUs, IPAs, but right now I just want a lager. I just want something simple.
And aren't you all seeing, or do you see out there in the market that consumers' first question still for craft beer is, what do you got that's new?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Definitely. If you're
Yeah.
into craft beer, it's like, what you got new? Second thing, they look what their favorite is.
Exactly.
And I think honestly, especially for Texas, because it's somewhat young in the craft beer industry, that I think the fact that you can do a good lager or a good pale ale or something like that to get them, like I said, bridge the gap and have something for them to get them in to the fold. Because
Come on over, the water's fine.
yeah,
That sort of thing.
exactly. And I think that maybe the reason that a lot of people are kind of going back to that simplicity is because before you think of like an American lager, you think of like Bud Light or Coors, and that's just, it has a negative connotation with it,
Yep.
right? So, but you can still say, hey, we can make a good quality, good tasting, flavorful beer and still be that style and make it good and
Yeah.
be enjoyable. You know?
Yeah, I mean, what we aspire to at that North Texas is to
Let's
have
try it. Talk about lagers. Let's try your lager.
Yeah.
What
I want
was it?
people to try that and think, that's really good. That tastes like the Bud Light or the Miller Lite or whatever that I like to drink, but it's got more flavor.
This is a really good lager.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, and it's what it is, and it's our way of telling those people who like that sort of thing, we've got something for you instead of, hey, get on out of there. It's my partner, Kurt Taylor.
Oh, we were talking about you this whole time here.
Yeah.
What's going on, Kurt? Victor.
Victor. Hey, nice to
Victor
meet you. Drew.
So my stepfather's name is Kurt as well.
Oh, there. My name's Curtis, actually.
Curtis. Oh. Sorry, Curtis.
That's okay.
Who's going by Kurt or Curtis?
Kurt.
Kurt. The same as my father's name.
Curtis.
So we were talking about we talking about a lot about you, about different reasons why we're here. But I'm glad to have you here. So what? I don't even know what to ask right now. I'm so
Blown away.
yeah.
Just his presence.
The presence is
Yeah.
beautiful.
I do that to
Kurt
people.
brings a strong,
got that
strong
effect.
presence.
It's just the beauty.
Well, a lot of stuff we were talking about recently, because we just tried the lager, is kind of how seems like a lot of the industry is kind of moving back. A lot of the people that brew beer want something simple. They're kind of going back to something just more plain, not plain, but back to basics, if you will. So, and we were talking about consistency and how there's not a lot of room to hide within the lager. If you mess up, you're gonna know it. So yeah, we just tried lager. It was really good. I think what I liked about it was it wasn't too sweet or anything like that, but it had that nice breadiness that you would think in a lager. So
Refreshing too.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Really good.
Did you drink the blonde or?
That's where we're headed
North
next.
Texas.
Okay.
And the next one up is actually the Smash and Grab.
And did you?
They got
Go
some
for
of
it.
that out of
Funny thing about it,
out
we
of
just
the fermenter.
posted a video of a guy smashing and grabbing a bunch of Bud Lights. You ever seen
Oh
that
yeah,
guy?
I saw that. It was in South Arlington.
Yeah.
And the
Thanks,
best response on that on Twitter was from our buddies down at Austin Beer Works. It said, "Carrying five cases of beer is not easy. Here's the link to apply."
When he gets out of prison.
Yeah. We'll help with your retraining.
I was in prison. We posted on there. I was like, of all things, to smash and grab, you're gonna do 5 cases of Bud Light?
5 cases of Bud Light. It's
Right there, ready to
that's
go.
not worth the time.
Somebody said this poor man's gonna get arrested for stealing 5 cases of water. I mean, that's not right. You know? So,
He's just thirsty. He just needs water for his family.
Very funny.
So what is so we talked earlier about different styles we all like. What are some of the
carry
styles
on.
you like? Yes, sir.
I'm pretty much a smash guy.
yeah.
IPAs.
I love the single malt, single hop IPA, and the ones that have the really nice nose. Are the ones I really enjoy. I like them to be approachable,
Yeah.
not overly hop in your face kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
You're speaking to his terms because I've been trying to get him to convert over to kind of enjoying IPAs.
Never.
And it seems like he's the same way. He doesn't want too bitter, too overpowering for his palate. and he's real sensitive to it. So that's y'all are kind of in the same.
I've developed quite the knack, though. I know exactly how much of this I can drink and still drive. And,
That's a skill. That's a skill in itself, sir.
it's a very fine line. You drink more than 2 of these, and you probably don't want to be driving.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think he was saying before he left you that you guys live somewhat close to here, so
5 minutes.
So you factor in the route, and whatnot,
Yeah.
the time to ETA to the
We have
house.
Ubered many a time, even that 5 minutes,
Oh, yeah.
just to be safe on the
for sure.
safe side.
Drinking some of the big boys for a couple hours, you may have to Uber home. No.
No, so many of those West Coast IPAs, they're so bitter
Oh yeah.
up front that you drink one and it destroys your palate for anything else that you might want to drink.
No,
and you
definitely.
probably don't want to have a second or third, where the Smash is approachable enough with enough balance where you can have a couple of them and really enjoy both of them.
No, beautiful glass.
But yeah, that's my beer, and I like the amber too. I'm an amber guy. I like the. We just did a brown ale too that I've been drinking quite a bit of, and maybe it's just the weather, tends to lean towards a brown ale and the stout and that type of thing. We've got a beer in the fermentation tank right now that's it's our specialty Christmas beer? Seasonal? Yeah. I forget what we're going to call it, but at any rate.
Seasonal this year.
Seasonal this year, okay. But
Legal holiday.
Oh my God, that's such a good name. I need a legal holiday for my birthday.
this will be our 3rd year with Legal Holiday, and each year we've changed the recipe, tweaked it just a bit. This year, I think it's our best so far.
Dialed in now?
Oh
yeah.
We just tasted it today, and we amped it up a little bit. It's going to be around 8%, and it's a true winter warmer with a really nice mouthfeel to it.
Yeah.
It's going to be fabulous. Looking forward to that.
Look forward to that as well.
Yeah.
Really good.
But this has been a well-educated podcast. I can't wait to come back and look at this podcast. It's been great. I want to come back, and we want to come back and do more stuff with you guys. November 30. No, November 30. We'll be here. I will have my gimbal. We will record and have fun.
For Tavern Carol.
It's just gonna be a good time. He sold me on it. I live in North Dallas. He sold me. I have to come by.
That is one of the best events we have all year, and the community comes out, and it's so just fulfilling.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a wonderful experience, and it doesn't matter what denomination you are. You just come in here and sing Christmas carols and drink some beer.
Yeah, awesome.
It's a beautiful thing.
The communal aspect is the most important thing that we, being this podcast, we enjoy community more than anything else. The beer, of course, we enjoy good beer. There's the aspect of hanging out and meeting new people and the community aspect of it.
Sure.
We will be here. We probably will live stream some of it, but we will. Unfortunately, this is the end of this podcast, but many more to come. Many more to come and hanging out with you guys. I think it was a pleasure, a phenomenal pleasure.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Everybody have a good weekend. I appreciate it. Be careful. November 30th. Be here. Don't miss out. Love you guys. Be careful.